Hi, I'm Wendell G. Welcome back to the Weeble. Today is Saturday, April 2nd, 2044, and we're getting ready to start the regular season. And I thought I would give a quick update on just a quick spring training recap of Moscow, as much for my benefit as anybody's. You see over in the left-hand column here the North League, the NL North, the National League. Actually, anyway, we can't be the National League because we got the DH. The NL, the North League. You'll see there's a free-for-all here. No, everybody was in 3 games of the leader, Amsterdam. Helsingborg got out to a really fast start, and at halfway through spring training was killing everybody, but everybody pulled back. Moscow got off to a really lousy, rotten, terrible, stinking start. We were like 4-10, and that kind of got my attention a little bit. That's a tough start, 4-10. We came back and we finished after that 4-10 start. We went 9-5, and I made some changes after. I was kind of galvanized into making some changes there after that start. And I don't know, man. So I wanted to explore the stats just a little bit, but I guess to start off with our Zoom, look at the closeness that the 8 teams ended up 3 games apart. South League showed a little bit of variance. Kabul emerged as a surprising top dog, but it's spring training. People are playing with lineups and whatnot. So anyway, just fun times, and we had some major injuries throughout the leagues, but I don't think we had any season-ending injuries, so that's good. That's real good. Let's go over here to Moscow real quick. Team info, reports, pitching. Let's go to pitching stats, spring training. Here we go. Let's take a look at pitching for this pitching report for spring training. At the top of the list in WHIP with 2.1 innings pitched is Pablo Vasquez. His name you probably don't know. He's been a lifer in my system. He's only gotten a few call-ups to the bigs, and he's got a great stuff rating, great fastball, great curveball, but his movement is lousy. His control is lousy. He's an extreme fly ball pitcher. He pitches really hard, but when hitters hit it, they hit it a long way. So that's why he hasn't been up on the major league roster. Well, he made the cut for the first, few weeks of regular season. So we'll see if he lasts on the big league roster. He reminds me a lot of, let me see if I can find the guy. Where'd he go? Gerard Martin, who also has big pitch, overwhelming stuff, not so great movement, and kind of flaky control. Also a fly ball pitcher, also with very high velocity. Did quite well last year. He pitched a 1.09 WHIP in 61.1 innings with a 4.11 ERA, and perfectly acceptable walk and home run rates. So a great WAR last year, 111 ERA plus. So this kind of pitcher can succeed. For sure, man. Like for sure. Another good performer, again, on limited innings, though, Mahmoud Jamal. Mahmoud is a guy, look at his ratings don't just knock you out, do they? But this guy, he's pitched well, man. He was in our minor league system throughout the past few years, and came up last year, pitched 36 games in the bigs, 4.64 ERA and 1.29 WHIP, a great 0.8 home run per 9 ratio, and not a lousy walks per 9 inning, not a great strike. He's not a strikeout pitcher, pitches to contact, but he wound up pitching real good for us. Mahmoud Jamal wound up being a big part of our bullpen. Pitched 42.2 innings in 36 appearances last year. He made the cut. We're going to get into some of the guys that didn't here pretty soon, but look at this start by Donald Mason. He started 5 games, 2-0, 2 wins, 1.8 ERA, 0.80 WHIP. This dude came to play. He was one of the highest in opponent average, one of the best in opponent averages this year. Donald Mason came to play this year. So did Tadanobu Sasaki, 1.35 ERA, 0.85 WHIP. Oh my word! These two guys keep this up. Oh yeah. And Leonardo Muñez, 0.94 WHIP. Bing Liu, 0.95 WHIP. I got 3 starters and my closer right here. I'm pretty darn happy with that. And however, other starters were not so good. Let's go ahead and sort some of the worst. You can see Nuno Favela, 1.06 WHIP. Great WHIP rating. Walked nobody, but gave up 6 runs in 5.2 innings for a 9.53 ERA. Yay. Cesar Marrero had a great start, 1.08 WHIP and a 4.08 ERA. Oh man, I'm liking this whip. Whipping it good here. However, let's flip it. Let's flip the whip. Tripod got blowed up this spring. He got blowed up so bad. 0-5, 5 losses, 12.54 ERA, 3.11 WHIP. Opponents were hitting 422 average against him. He got blowed up so bad, he's wearing Katake red and white with big K, big old K. So, you know, he's 34. He's in his final year. We signed him for a 2-year deal. Hate to leave him down in AAA this year, but he's going to start off down there and see if he can get his groove back. Another guy who got blowed up, Barry Birch, 19.29 ERA in 2.1 innings, 3.00 WHIP. Didn't really expect too much out of Barry Birch. And you know what? Didn't even bother trying to trade the guy. Just released him. So he's out there. Ground ball pitcher, 93.95 miles an hour. Doe, if you're watching this, if you have video in your part of the world, YouTube's, I know you like to take a flyer on the guys with control risks. Take a look at Barry Birch. I'd like for him to have his story continue. He's age 27. 0 time on a major league roster, but I just couldn't deal with that, man. I couldn't do it. Those two guys were the worst of the bunch, and now I had a whole lot of pitchers on my roster, and I had to cut them. Had to cut a bunch. Had to move a bunch, not cut them. I had to send them back down. Oh, Pedro Martinez. I hated to send him back down, but he got lots of innings, 16.2 innings. Now, ended up with a 1.98 WHIP, gave up 3 home runs, 8.10 ERA. Pedro wearing the K. I'm sorry, Pedro. I like you, man. I love you, man. But, you know, that ain't going to do it. Bodan Oberg, he's wearing the K. He came back from a really bad injury last year. He got injured right at the start of the season. For some reason, he's on my 40-man roster, so don't really know what to think about this guy. He's marginal in AAA with a 1.53, 1.51 WHIP the last few years. Last year had a 1.89 WHIP in AAA. Just about, he's 25. You know I don't give up on guys, but you may see him out in minor league free agency or something. This was a heartbreaker in Orlando. I had to send Leo back down to AAA. He pitched 1.67 WHIP, gave up 4 home runs, a 4.15 ERA. He's wearing the K, the big circle K. Hate to do it, but he's got to get himself back together. I know he's angry, you know what? But you perform like that, Leo, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get sacked. Shihu Cheetah, he's been a long-time Circle K guy, and he's back down. He did not have a great spring. Was not absolutely the lousiest spring possible. 1.56 WHIP. He had a great 2.16 ERA. He was very miserly. He worked 8 innings, 8.1 innings, and good with keeping runners, from scoring. I appreciated that, Sheehy, but he had all of his options left, and I needed room on the roster for some other guys. He'll get his chance later. I also wanted to point out with Leo, he had 17.1 innings of work, all in relief appearances, and so he had a good sample size and just couldn't get it done. He will get another look later. This was a heartbreaker. $5 million man, Kellogg Cornflake Higgum, He started 3 games for us and got hammered pretty good. Got slobber knockered. Gave up 2 home runs, 9.35 ERA. Gave up 9 runs in 8.2 innings, 9 earned runs. His whip wasn't too bad, 1.38 whip, but this is tough, man. It's real tough. Nick Bruin, he was a very pleasant find in free agency. Signed him for just under a tick under $1 million. He was had previously served time in the Istanbul prison system. Had a really rotten 2043. Wants to forget it. Did fantastic for us in spring training. Just lights out. Probably going to be our setup guy, Nicholas Bruin. In fact, I liked his performance so much I went ahead and extended him next year. But 7.1 innings of relief, 1.23 ERA. Love it, man. He's a very pleasant surprise. First guy I picked up in free agency. Let's see. I'm going to surf down here. Let me look at ERA right quick. I sent Kellogg down. He's wearing the Circle K. He's not happy with it, but he gets it. He came back. He spent a lot of time on injury last year, and he's got to get it back. He's got to get himself back. Maybe Baton Rouge wasn't so silly to release him when I was all after him, to keep him online. So those were the big issues. There's one more issue I need to talk about with spring training, and that was Nicodemus Brain Hellman. Did not start off very good at all. He had a 9-something ERA, but he redeemed himself in his 5 starts. He got no decisions. He gave up 10 runs, 6 home runs. The Brain gave up 6 home runs. I think there's no question that he's dropping. He had a substandard. Well, we'll see. He had a substandard spring. Maybe he was just, he needed to loosen up after a summer of, touring the world. And he came back to salvage his ERA and his whip, his opponent average. So, not bad. But I did have thoughts the first 2 weeks. I was like, I might have to send Hellman back down. Does Nico go back to AAA? I was having some thoughts about that. So that's pitching. Those are the highlights of pitching. Basically, I'm very darn happy with pitching, man. Really, very, very happy with pitching in spring training. We'll have to see if it holds up. Messian, I saw some of the guys were schizophrenic, had a great whip, terrible ERA. Messian Assad was one of those guys. Only got 2.1 innings, though, so I think some of these things are kind of sort of anomalies, Even Kellogg Cornflake only got 8.2 innings before he got rocked. 3 starts and 8.2 innings. He didn't average 3 innings per start, so, maybe there's a little bit of lenience for that coming up down the road. Who got the most innings? Noel Abbott wound up getting the most innings. He's a perennial triple Circle K guy here. He's been, actually he's not. He's been on my, that's right. I'm thinking of another guy. I'll get to him in a minute. Abbott has spent the past 3 years on our big league roster and been notching a pretty good whip, creeping up a little bit, but his ERA's been creeping down. He's been letting more runners on base, but dealing a lot better with those that get on base. Look at that. ERA plus from last year, 161 ERA plus. Fantastic. 35 innings last year, making $2 million a year. This guy knows what to do with his pitches. Abbott's extremely intelligent. I was about to say that. Just guessed based on his performance. He's got that knuckle curve, man. So Abbott had a where'd he go? Abbott had a good. Here we go. Sorted by innings pitched. Abbott had a really good spring. He did let some runs score, give up 3 home runs, but I guess stuff like this is going to happen. Let's see. Who else have I not talked about who got lots of innings? Jose Rivas did pretty darn good. Gave up a home run and 3 walks, 1.27 whip, 4.09 ERA. Did not start. He's kind of grooming him for the starting position. Just really pleased with Munoz. Really pleased with most of the pitching. I mean, Tripod, I kind of have a transition plan already for Tripod. I was disappointed that he had such a rough spring. And he's only going to get another place on the roster if somebody really falls hard in front of him, So this might be Tripod Pack's last hurrah as a mule. Let's jump down here to batting. And I've kind of looked at pitching before, but haven't really looked at batting. So let's see who had a good year. Payway hit 360 with a 415 OBP in the spring. He did not knock any home runs. That's really surprising. Jaime Robles, this guy, 359 average. Zippo, that's Robles is not surprising, but Zippo, man, hit 350 with a 1.136 OPS, 4 home runs. Word up, man. Zippo breaking out on us. Zippo and Payway, left-handed, right-handed. What a tandem we got at the backstop, at least for the spring. Hugo Yazicki, 344 for us. So those were our really top performers, and it's good to see those bats. Of course, Payway and Zippo will be splitting time, although if they keep this up, man, one of them is going to end up DHing for us, splitting time at DH. Louis Velez hit well, 291, and Yacine Benjamil, he only got, I think, 2 weeks of work, 14 games, but he hit 290 with a 405 OBP, and he's got some speed, he's got some wheels, so really happy to see that. That's what I need, man, out of the shortstop position. Valdemar Custance hit well, 288, as did Lieutenant Dan, trying to redeem himself. Wiener Deemer, trying to earn a place on the roster. Donut Gonnet, hit 280. Joe Lopez, 276. I'm totally okay with these guys. Look at the high OBPs. Of course, spring training, hitting against a lot of different pitchers. The only real disappointments, now Roger Jones and Jalil Ben Fawaz, they were here both kind of auditioning to see if they could, we would make a place on the roster if they really outperformed one of the other guys, but they didn't. The 2 disappointments were Alonzo Donatello, and Alonzo hit 226. He started off ice cold. He really elevated that batting average in the last week or two. Only hit 1 home run, so he hit 177 in like a month of playing time on the roster last year. So it's going to be a learning curve for Alonzo, for AD, all day. The Don. We'll come up with a nickname for him later. But he's going to be on my roster. I'm willing to grow into his bat here. And that kind of sounded bad. Let's say it a different way. I'm willing to give him time and patience to let him, find his batting average. The big disappointment, Mario Duarte, Super Mario, hit 211 over spring training. It was the whole spring training. He never hit well. He did knock 2 taters, but 211 with a 241 OBP. Man. That was worst on the team. 241 on-base percentage. That's a waste of a bat right there. And his defense did not make up for it. So that's a highlight of spring training. And I had to make some tough decisions, the easy decisions. I went ahead and sent down three guys. I sent down Jalil Ben Fawaz, our number 3 catcher, Roger Jones, and Mario Duarte. Fawaz has shown he can get her done when he's called up on the major league roster. So I have no real concerns with that. He's a good backup. Jones, I know he's not going to have much of a bat. He'll earn his pay through defense. And Duarte, he's got to make it with the bat. He's just not showing the defense. He's also, I believe this is his last contract year. He may not come back up to the big club. Kind of depends on how he does in AAA and how Jamil and Wiener Deemer do, and Lieutenant Dan. So we'll just see how that goes. I guess while we're at it, let's look at fielding ratings. Can we get don't get no fielding ratings for spring. Okay, well, that's all right. That's all right, I guess. Injury log. We only had 1 injury through the spring, and it was Vicente Betancourt. He was injured after getting in a fight in a poker game. Broke his foot. He's going to miss 2 to 3 weeks, and they tacked on another week. 2 to 3 weeks is fast to get over a foot. So I don't know how you break your foot. I guess he was kicking somebody or kicking the table or kicking somebody's dog. He is 18 year older, the Love Machine, 18 years old in the International Complex. Those guys have some crazy games of poker down there, so keep it together. Keep it together, Love Machine. So that was our only injury of the spring. And we did not do a whole lot of here's our actual send downs here. We did not do a whole lot of work in terms of transactions. First 2 days of April. We did release Barry Birch, as I mentioned. If you want to take a flyer on a guy with terrible control, go ahead and snap him up and see what he can do. He'll probably sign a minor league contract. He was on a minor league contract with us. 27, though, I guess my clock had just expired. I saw his performance. I was like, I'm done. We're so done. We're done, Barry. And here are the guys that went down to AAA. We're the Circle K. Tripod Pack, Bodan Oberg, Mezjana Saad. Kind of surprising. Shihio Uchida, Carlitos Bernardino, Leo Morales, Pedro Martinez, Kellogg, Cornflake Higgum, Jalil Ben Fawaz, Mario Duarte, Roger Jones, and Gabriel Wachterveld was put on the AA DL. I don't really know why I did that. I just wanted him off of my pitching rotation in AA. The only real transactions we had in the during spring training were we extended Nicholas Brune, our setup guy. He's going to be our setup guy to a 1-year extension for $1.1 million. Signed a really nice looking international amateur center fielder Hector Vasquez out of Cuba. We signed John Compton, I started to say strong safety, shortstop free agent to a minor league contract with a little tic-tac bonus. A couple of other minor league free agents. Just kind of get these guys into our system for a few weeks and rotate other guys out of the system, see what these guys can do, see if they stick. Signed a free agent Christian Dog Gutierrez to a minor league contract. This is one of those minor league. I really like Dog, and we'll zoom in on him in just a second here. And finally, the big move was to sign Yassin Ben Jamil to a 1-year contract for $2 million. I was in some talks about Ben Jamil earlier last year. The problem was he was more valuable to Kabul than I was willing to give up for. He was more valuable, like, I don't know, 5th rounder. I don't know. He's worth more than a 5th rounder to me. That kind of a negotiation. I didn't know what to give up for Ben Jamil. He was sort of everybody's favorite, utility kind of a guy. And he's the kind of guy I really like. Really good defense. Plays second, third, and short, and it's going to be good for us. Anyway, this other guy, Christian Gutierrez, Dog, he was a former Key West player. He had 285 with Key West, and I've mentioned a time or two before, the past 3 years, 292, 295, 285. He hit decently for Key West. His OBP kind of fell off last year. And I've mentioned before, I really like, this guy plays a really strong center field. He can learn to play left field really well. Excellent right fielder. He's got the Pac-Man profile. I really like this kind of a chomp profile for a utility guy. You can usually get these guys really cheap. And good contact, good avoid K. And he's down in, we're in the Circle K. And I signed him to one of these deals that's here it is, a minor league contract with a major league option. It becomes a 1-year major league contract worth $1.2 million if he is added to our active or 40-man roster. He's granted free agency if he's not promoted, though, before the end of April. If May Day comes around and Dog is not up on the 40-man roster, he's gone. So, I like this kind of guy. I'm kind of okay in the outfield. I got a little bit of depth. I got Joe Lopez. I got a guy in the minors who's pretty close to being ready to come up. But I'll be quick to pull this guy up if I think if I think I need him off the bench. So he'll be I mentioned earlier how I was astonished at how weak we were defensively in center field. Well, Dog will bring us some goodness out in center field. He is a lifetime plus 9.9 WAR guy in center field, a plus 70 in right field, but he's not going to hurt us in center field. Last year, plus 3.7 in center field. So anyway, I guess he hasn't played nearly as much center field as right field. So I'll probably will designate him for. In fact, I'll do like this. Let me think. How do I do it? History, profile. How do I'll probably force start him. Here we go. Game strategy. Force start center field. There we go. So I'm going to force start him in center and get him reps in the minors. Here's the guy that I'm kind of holding off. He's also being force started in center. I'd rather have Gallegos get started in center, although with this range, he may never make a great center fielder. I'm just hoping he develops his bat. He's got a nice fluid bat. Really good guy at the plate, good guy defensively. He may wind up being a lifetime left-right fielder, but we'll find a spot for him for sure on the Major League roster. He's just not quite ready yet. I want him to get a little bit more confidence, a good performance this year in AAA. I'm guessing he's going to hit around 300 or better in AAA. So, so I want him to get a little bit more conference. A little bit more conference. Here, let's go. Let's do an export. Export it. Good. Done. Okay, so and that was back and back, back and back and back, and that was the end of our transaction. So, sort of a quiet spring training, and I guess let's finish up by zooming back out to the Weeble. Really glad. I mean, sometimes if you're undergoing some challenges as a program, that's good spring training is a real morale booster. And I was glad to see Dublin get a good spring. I think Rad Pants is right. The fighting Radfords were sort of unfairly dogged in preseason predictions, and he's probably better than a cellar dweller. He's a BCD. Istanbul even. Istanbul played us tough, man. Let's go look at our calendar here. Oh, who do we start with? At Berlin versus Dublin. You know Dublin's going to be painting the town green when they come to town. Good. So we're going to get a homestand here early on. Good. We'll start making some bank early on. That's good. Keep Mr. Ben Ali off my back. Yeah, lots of red the first 2 weeks, and then turned around to lots of green the last 2 weeks. So, the thing I found interesting about this, a lot of our losses, lost 4-5, lost 3-4, lost 8-9, were one-run losses. And it looks like we're still continuing in that, 0-10. So beat the snot pants out of us. I don't see a whole lot of loss blowouts here. 3-run loss. Here's a 7-run loss to Seoul again. Seoul is the mule killer. 1 run, 1 run, 1 run, 3 run, 3 run, 1 run, 2 run, 1 run, 1 run, 3 run, 2 run, 10 run. So Seoul knocked the snot pants off of us a couple of times. We knocked the snot pants off of them once. They beat us 3 out of 4. It could come back. I may be overweighting some stuff, but it could come back between us and Seoul. That was really a fun duel last year, and I enjoyed. We had a battle with Seoul over this guy right here. Where'd he go? Utility guy. Players. Where the players at? Sort it by position. Here he is. Over the Turkmenistan. We had a bit of a bidding war for Turk, and it started at 1.5 and it just gradually escalated. I thought I had the war won with a $3 million bid with a team option the final year, and Seoul comes out and pulls it out on the last day of the sim with a 3.5 3-year offer. So that was a fun thing, kind of like a little bit of bluff, a little bit of raising the stakes, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that quite right much. y'all. Right much. We also had a little bit of a bidding war for this guy. Oh, I saw Joker come in, and I was like, oh yeah, man, I'd love to have him on my roster. So it wound up being, I think, being a two horse race with between me and Soul for Cedronelli, which I enjoyed quite a lot. Couple of times I thought I had this guy in the bag. In fact, I thought I had Turk in the bag a couple of times, and I was just couldn't wait for the next sim, so I'd see if I got him. But this guy, I like him a lot. He's a team leader. Guys like to have him around. He's a great defensive pitcher. Got good stamina, a good fastball. Well, a 91 mile an hour fastball, which is his weakest pitch. Good curve, change, and splitter. Good stuff. Good. This guy, look at his history. He entered the Weeble as a free agent from Venezuela in November, and he just popped up out of the blue. And I love to find guys like this who are flying so low on the radar. You know, this is a 2-star rated guy, 29 years old, just shows up out of nowhere, man. So you don't know, you know, in the old Topia days, the Weeble, these guys seemed to have a quick fall off. You know, they'd show up, be really excited about them, and suddenly they'd fall off. You know, just per their age. Well, I don't know if that's going to be true this time around, but I really enjoyed trying to get this guy, and I enjoyed my competition with Soul, with Carl to get him. That's a good contract for a starting pitcher right here. You know, this is the kind of pitcher that could pitch a no-hitter or two through the season. His control is so great. His stamina is good. He's got 3 pitches that work for him. Good defense. This is a pitcher who's not going to hurt himself. He's smart enough. He's not going to hurt himself. He's not going to blow anybody away with his stuff. He's not going to put up the glamorous stats. But he's durable. He can last deep into the games because of that control. And he's the kind of guy that can pitch that shutout, the complete game shutout, that no-hitter, that one-hitter and two-hitter. So keep your radar up. I think old Joker is going to he's going to have a day in the sun here later this year. Don't know if he's going to stick in Soul's rotation, but I hope he does. Hope he does. He could be an outstanding reliever, long reliever, middle reliever. So yeah, and I guess that's it. We'll return to Moscow. We'll land on Moscow as I rack my brain to think about anything else coming up. Pitching roster transactions. We have our top prospects. The only one that I really expect to stick in the majors here is Gallegos, Roberto Gallegos. He's the one I've really got high hopes for, Gallegos. And of course, I already pulled up Donatello to go DH for us. Although, as I mentioned, my 2 catchers, Payway and Zippo, could be splitting time at DH2. Back and forth, man. I guess DH doesn't wear you out like a field position, huh? How in the world do you stay focused on the game as a DH, man? Wow. I guess it's a similar mentality that a pitcher has, right? You go out and you work your half an inning, you just stay focused in the off half. I don't know. All right. Well, we'll have we'll be looking forward to big things come this week as we start the regular season and we move forward. I was really pleased to see Berlin's extensions here. They got a couple of good guys for cheap money. All right, well, I'm going to ramble, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.